know what happened at Tawang. We all know that the Chinese tried to come, and we know how the Indian army pushed them back. There's even a video, but they say that this video is slightly old, but the location remains the same. Today, I'm not going to tell you what happened because you already know what happened. The media has been discussing it threadbare. You have top analysts and defense personnel on television telling you what the lay of the land is like, what the terrain is like, what are the Chinese intentions, etc. I'm here to tell you something different. I'm here to tell you how to stop the Chinese, which according to my opinion is the most important thing that India should be thinking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching Checkmate. So friends, you saw how the Chinese built a village. To protect the village, they needed a dominating height. They picked out this feature about 17,000 feet above sea level, marched 300 people to that feature. The Indians, very quietly got their QRT. They hammered the Chinese went back. That in gist is the story. You've been told, different variations of the story, but the crux remains the same. The Chinese were beaten back. Now, why are the Chinese coming again and again? They were quiet for so many years. For so many years, the Chinese were quiet. And then suddenly the Chinese say, let us make our presence felt in Doklam. Okay? In Doklam, when we were covering Doklam here on Republic TV, I had very clearly said that these guys will come again, and they came again. They came to Ladakh, East Ladakh, and Galwan happened. And while Galwan was happening, I said that they will come again and they will come in Arunachal. I mentioned Arunachal. Here they are. And today, let me tell you, they will go to Uttarakhand and they are also coming to Himachal Pradesh along the line of actual control. Now, why is this? Now, this is my palm. This is the concept that the Chinese follow. This palm is Tibet. The palm and finger strategy, this palm is Tibet. And about the fingers, number 1, Sikkim, 2, Ladakh, 3, Arunachal, 4, Uttarakhand, and 5, Himachal Pradesh. So, ladies and gentlemen, what they are trying to do is cause stress along the Himalayas, cause concern, keep on pushing the Indian army, keep on pushing the government of India so that we crack a little. You know the famous saying of Sun Tzu, that real victory is won without fighting. That is what Sun Tzu believed. And this is exactly what the Chinese are doing. They don't want to fight. They don't want to fight. This I said, I've been saying this for so many years. They don't want to fight you. When they came to Galwan, even when we lost 20 of our brave hearts, I said that the Chinese did not come to Galwan to fight. And people said, we've lost 20 people, you're saying they did not come to fight. I again reiterate, the Chinese did not come to Galwan to fight, and they have not come to Yangtze on the 9th to fight. No, sir. They came for a different reason. They came to push. They came to shove. They came to check for weaknesses. And this problem with the Chinese will continue because this is how the Chinese operate. Let me give you an example. This example has been also discussed in the media. And of course, the officer that I'm talking about is a hero to many in the Indian Army. And unfortunately, not very many civilians know about this great man. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Lieutenant General Sagat Singh. He hailed from Rajasthan. And General Sagat Singh was such a fine officer. There hasn't been a finer wartime commander in the Indian Army. At least that is what my seniors tell me. I don't have enough of experience to tell you who's better, who's not. But there is a wide consensus in the Indian Army that there hasn't been a better wartime commander than General Sagat Singh Rathore. And what did he do? When the Chinese were again playing their tricks in Nathula, he said no pushing, no shoving, no abusing, no hitting each other with dandas. Absolutely not. He called out the big guns. He told the artillery, I want the Chinese soldiers dead. The Indian Army killed hundreds of Chinese soldiers. Nathula almost became a flashpoint in 1967. It was a flashpoint in 1967. But because of the leadership shown by General Sagat Singh, the Chinese went home quietly. And the Chinese slept. for the next 20, 25 years. Now, there is a lesson in all this. And the lesson is that strength is respected. In 1967, there was General Sagat Singh to show India's strength. This is exactly what we need now. A lot of people say, Major, you're warmongering, Major, this is not something that you should be saying. You should work towards peace and tranquility. There is no peace and tranquility. Only military power can guarantee peace. There is no other insurance policy that works. It did not work yesterday. It doesn't work today. It will not work tomorrow. That is how it has been. That is how human history has been written. Only the powerful experience peace. You have to arm your army better. You have to give them the latest equipment, which is coming in the army. Perhaps we need it at a faster pace. But most importantly, we need to teach the Chinese a lesson. This undated video that media has been showing, this, our troops, our boys speaking in Punjabi, beating back the Chinese and the Chinese running away. Maybe, this is 2021. And sure, this is 2021. I'm not saying this is a current video. But did you see the Chinese soldiers running away? Did you see the look of fear and confusion on their faces when they were confronted by Indian Army soldiers? When the Indian Army soldiers went on an attack, they ran away. This is what Chinese courage looks like. They run away when confronted by a more aggressive and superior force. My friends, what I'm trying to tell you here is, next time the Chinese come, we must ensure, I know I'm talking about abrogation of all the treaties that we have signed with the Chinese. But the Chinese don't believe in those treaties. There are 4 or 5 treaties. And I can name those treaties, I can tell you when they've been signed, but it's inconsequential. I don't want to remember when those treaties were signed. Because have the Chinese followed them? No. If the Chinese had followed that, there would have been no Doklam, there would have been no Galwan, and there would have been no Tawang. But there was. And we lost our friends, we lost our brothers in Galwan. Why? Because the Chinese don't honor that treaty. Or those treaties, this set of 4 or 5 treaties. The Chinese don't honor them. Then why should we? Why should we? Why should this love affair with China be one-sided? It certainly is. The Indian Army has exercised a lot of restraint. The Indian government has exercised a lot of restraint. But I don't think the Chinese understand that kind of language. So what I'm saying is this. Next time when the Chinese come, we must make sure none of them go back alive. None of them. You must do to the Chinese in 2023, because 2022 is about to end, you must do to the Chinese in 2023 what General Sagat Singh did to them in 1967. That is the only language that the Chinese understand. There is no way you can sign 100 other treaties with China and they'll still violate each and every single letter of every line of every paragraph of every page of every treaty. That is what the Chinese will do. They'll keep on violating all terms because they do not have similar values. The Chinese don't have similar values. They're a godless people. They don't have similar values. It's okay for them to lie, cheat and steal. It's okay for them to do propaganda. It's absolutely fine for them to fight dishonorably as long as they win, except that they are not winning. We must go, as the Americans say, weapons hot, along the line of actual control, and the Chinese will back off. This is China's history. I've given this example before, I'll give it again. In 1979, the Chinese went to Vietnam, thinking that it's a small country. They'll swallow Vietnam, they'll sort of defeat their army. The Vietnamese army gave them a hiding, a thrashing of a lifetime. And the Chinese have since not looked at Vietnam. This is the language that China understands. Now, ladies and gentlemen, enough about China. The United States has stepped in, the United Nations have stepped in, everybody has called for de-escalation. There is no escalation from India's side. They came into our country, we beat them up. That's it, it's pretty simple. As far as the Indian army is concerned, you come near the border, you'll get thrashed. You stay your side, I stay my side. If we call you, if we invite you, you're welcome to come into India. Without an invitation, sorry. It doesn't work that way. It's very simple. I don't know why people, all over the world are saying that both India and China should de-escalate. India has never escalated the problem. India did not enter into Chinese territory and start killing Chinese soldiers. India did not try to occupy Chinese peaks. India did everything in its power to de-escalate this already problematic border. For decades, India has been telling the Chinese, let's sit down across the table, all right? Let's be neutral in our perspective, let's be non-judgmental, and let's draw a border between India and China. Currently, India has a border with Tibet. Currently, India has a border with Tibet, not with China, because Tibet is an occupied nation. But the fact of the matter is, let's have a border. You control Tibet, all right, we don't agree with it, but all right, you control Tibet, fine. This is the line. Let's call it an international border. But the Chinese have always refused. The Chinese never came to the negotiating table. More than a dozen times the Indians have approached the Chinese in the past. Let's sit down. Let's end this once and for all. But the Chinese covet Arunachal Pradesh. The Chinese want Ladakh. You see, the Chinese, they want much, much more than what they already have. In fact, the Chinese covet the Vladivostok port in Russia, which is thousands of miles away. They just do. That's the nature of the Chinese beast. That's the nature of the dragon. And what should India do in this regard? India should tell the world that if you want de-escalation, talk to the Chinese, don't talk to us, because we are not escalating. But we can escalate, because these weapons that we have, and I've never made this comment, and today I will, the weapons that we have, the strategic assets that we have, are not meant for the Republic Day parade. They are meant to guarantee the sovereignty of India and the sanctity of its borders. That is why we have those weapons. And these weapons will be used and should be used should push comes. So I'm not talking about nuclear weapons here. Things will never go that far. I'm not talking about nuclear weapons. But we have some very, very serious weaponry which China is afraid of. And if push comes to shove, we must use those weapons. Now, moving away from China for a while, what's happening in Pakistan is that very recently the Pakistanis have decided to sell off their diplomatic building, one diplomatic building in Washington, D.C. This is the state of Pakistan. This is the state of Pakistan's economy. Have you heard of this idiom, this saying, selling the family silver? Pakistan is selling the family silver now. They sold one building a few years back in Germany. Now they're selling this building in the United States of America. And, for all the brazenness that Pakistan shows by saying that, we must counter India diplomatically, we must counter Dr. Jaishankar, he's very active, he needs to be stopped, and our Bilawal Bhutto will go and stop him, blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is they have not paid their diplomats' salaries for the past 4 months. How can you stop Dr. Jaishankar? How? Forget about stopping Dr. Jaishankar, you're not even paying your own diplomats. It's only yesterday or day before that Pakistan released some money so that the previous arrears could be paid. But this is a long-standing problem with Pakistan, not paying its diplomatic staff, not paying the contractual staff, except for maybe the ambassador or his number two. Nobody gets money for 4, 5, 6 months. The children's fees cannot be paid. This is the true face of Pakistani diplomacy: unpaid salaries, unpaid school fees, unpaid debts, selling the family silver. This is Pakistan diplomacy. It is not what Pakistan shows in various multilateral platforms. This is the true face of Pakistan's diplomacy. You see, according to Pakistan, this area, because it is Muslim, it belongs to Pakistan. This is Pakistan's logic for everything, because we are Muslim, hence, because they are Hindu, hence. That's Pakistan's logic. And 22 crore Pakistanis buy this logic, at least regarding Kashmir. So Pakistan says that Kashmir should be part of Pakistan because Kashmir is majority Muslim population that lives in the Kashmir Valley. Now, Pakistan has been pushing this agenda. The more the internal problems in Pakistan rise, the more Pakistan does Kashmir, Kashmir everywhere. Another news coming up is that day before yesterday, Baloch rebels attacked the Gwadar port. There were huge reserves of oil. People are saying that this is Iranian oil or something like that. But the Pakistanis claimed it was a short circuit. They said there's no attack, the short circuit. However, foreign media has gone to town saying, actually Baloch freedom fighters went and they blew up the place. Now, why would the Baloch do that? Of course, they hate the Pakistanis, and of course, the Baloch deserve to be an independent nation. But they did it for other reasons. Because the Baloch very strongly feel, and it's true, that Pakistani Punjab, it's stealing its resources. This is what Pakistani Punjab has been doing to everybody. They've stolen from Sindh, they've stolen from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they've stolen from everybody, every state they've stolen. This theft of natural resources from all over Pakistan going back into Punjab is what has led to so many insurgencies inside Pakistan. Of course, the heavy-handed nature of the Pakistani state is one such thing. And this is exactly why Baloch rebels blew up that oil dump. They said that the fires are still burning and it will take a while before it's brought under control. But the fact of the matter is, there are Chinese in Gawadar. And this war of the Baloch is not just against the Pakistani state. It is also against Chinese intervention in Balochistan. And by the way, not very many people in India know this. Students of geopolitics would know that actually Karachi, which is in Sindh, Karachi, which is Pakistan's economic capital, was originally part of Balochistan. Originally, Karachi was never part of Sindh. Baloch nationalists still consider Karachi a part of Balochistan. On December 14th, 2022, Bilawal Bhutto, the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, went to the United Nations Security Council and in an address said that the Security Council must aid in solving the Kashmir problem. And he said that this is a multilateral issue and the least that the United Nations could do, the Security Council could do, was to aid in the peaceful resolution of the Kashmir conflict. You see, according to Pakistan, this area, because it is Muslim, it belongs to Pakistan. This is Pakistan's logic for everything, because we are Muslim, hence, because they are Hindu, hence. That's Pakistan's logic. And 22 crore Pakistanis buy this logic, at least regarding Kashmir. So Pakistan says that Kashmir should be part of Pakistan because Kashmir is majority Muslim population that lives in the Kashmir Valley. Now, Pakistan has been pushing this agenda. The more the internal problems in Pakistan rise, the more Pakistan does Kashmir everywhere. This is Pakistan's ploy, because when Pakistan speaks about Kashmir, the people of Pakistan forget that tomatoes are 300 rupees a kg or onions are 250 rupees a kg. Because then jihad takes center stage. Whether the children eat or not, whether the elderly get their medicine or not, whether the sons and daughters go to school or not does not matter. Then it's jihad fi sabilillah. The entire community, the entire nation comes together as one community. And this is exactly what Pakistan is doing. Again, externalization of threat. This is exactly what China did, or China has been doing. When Xi Jinping gets into a problem, he sends his troops to the line of actual control to be thrashed by the Indian army so that he can get some sympathy in Beijing. Shore up his own position. Because today people in China are coming out on the roads and saying, Xi Jinping resign, get out. They've pretty much told Xi Jinping that we don't like you any longer. But there is nothing that the people of China can do because they don't have a free voice. Similarly, in Pakistan, there is nothing much that the people of Pakistan can do when called upon as a religious duty to support terrorism in Kashmir. They feel it is their fundamental right, they feel it is their duty, and this is what they're doing. But Bilawal Bhutto to go to the United Nations Security Council and say that implement the resolutions, I don't think Bilawal Bhutto has read the resolutions. The first point of the resolution is, as you all very well know, that Pakistan needs to get out of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. And Pakistan can never fulfill the first point of this entire piece. This resolution, 1948 UN resolutions on Kashmir. That is the first point. Pakistan must leave POK. Now, Pakistan has not left POK, is not likely to leave POK, but this is a good advertising gimmick in front of the entire world. This is a good ploy. This is a good ploy in front of Pakistanis. Forget your hunger, forget your disease, forget your political corruption, forget your economic chaos, forget the fact that your country is lying on its back looking at the stars. Forget all that. Remember Kashmir. This is exactly what Bilawal is telling, and this is the messaging that is coming from Pakistan. And this is coming because very recently his deputy, made a statement that India is the hub of terrorism. This is something that Pakistan has again started accusing India of. And I made this point before, and let me take the liberty of mentioning this point again. Pakistan says India supports terrorism in Pakistan. Why would India do that? Why? Why would India do that? They say that the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan is funded by India. But why? What does the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan do? Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is a terror organization. Once in a day, they go and they kill some Pakistani soldiers. They kill some Pakistani civilians. Every second day, there is a blast. But is this damaging the Pakistani state? killing of unnamed civilians in unnamed villages, which even Pakistanis don't know exist. How is it helping India? Let us assume for a minute, academically speaking, hypothetically speaking, that India is funding the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Let's assume this. All right? For the sake of academic discourse. How does it impact India? You see, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan have waged war against the state of Pakistan for a very long time. And they continue to do so. Because they have some demands. I'm not saying those demands are just. I believe that the TTP are terrorists. But to say that the Indians are funding them, I mean, look at it. The organization is called Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. It's not called Tehreek-e-Taliban India. These are Pakistanis killing Pakistanis. How is India involved in this entire thing? And what would benefit India more, by the way? 3 unnamed people getting killed at a checkpoint in some godforsaken place in the corner of Waziristan? Would that benefit India? Or Pakistan slide into economic chaos? Will that benefit India? Think strategically. What would benefit India? How does helping the TTP or how does funding the TTP actually help India? It does not. Plus, India has a big name. It has a great name. It is a well-respected name in diplomacy across the world. India is a brand. China is the one that created the virus, and India is the one that created the vaccine. Why would India blacken its name by, funding these good-for-nothing terrorists? Why would India do that? India has equity, brand equity in the world. It doesn't strike the Pakistanis as remotely illogical because they've never asked themselves this question. Why would India even do that? Why would India contemplate giving money? Because everything leaves a trail. Everything can be traced back. And they said that we are going to discuss at the United Nations. He went there, he didn't discuss anything. Hina Rabani Khar, his deputy, who was once the foreign minister, she said that no, we have a lot of proof and all that, and we are going to the United Nations. They never discussed anything. It was just rhetoric. I would recommend something to the Pakistanis. And let this come from a former Indian Army officer. Let me tell you, if India has done something wrong, if India has actually done terrorism, why don't you expose India? Why don't you simply expose India? And I'll tell you how to do it. The biggest 5-star hotel in Islamabad, hire the biggest hall inside. Call every ambassador of every country who's there in Pakistan. I'm sure there are more than 150 countries who have their embassies in Pakistan. Call them. Call the defense attaches. Call everybody. Call people from the United Nations Security Council. Call people from FATF. All the global bodies. And then show them Indian involvement proof. Give them proof in their hands and say that we leave it to you. Here is the proof. Here are the video recordings. Here are the voice transcripts. These are photographs. These are grid references. This is proof that cannot be denied in any court of law, in any civilized country, any Western country for that matter, because Pakistan is certainly not civilized. And China, I don't know if it has courts because China has funny laws, They punish people for crimes which are frankly like speaking out in public is punishable by 5 years. So I'm not counting Chinese courts in that, but any civilized country, whether it's India, whether it's the United States of America, the entire Europe, Africa, everywhere, most parts of Asia, Japan, Australia. Call everybody, give them this proof and say that this is irrevocable proof. This is undeniable proof of India's involvement in terrorism in Pakistan. Here are the voice records. We'll give them to you. We are giving you everything. Go, have them forensically checked and cleaned. And once you're convinced, tell the world that India is actually supporting terror inside Pakistan. But will Pakistan do that? Do you actually think Pakistan will do that? Never. Because there is no proof, because there is no terrorism. If Pakistan had proof, Pakistan would have done it a long time back. This whole drama started during the time of General Pervez Musharraf. Why didn't he call the whole world to Pakistan and expose India? Why didn't Nawaz Sharif expose India? Why didn't Asif Ali Zardari expose India? Why didn't Imran Khan Niazi, who was Prime Minister for 3.5 years, who wants Naya Pakistan, Riyasat-e-Madina, why didn't he put out this proof in front of the whole world? Why didn't the Pakistani put out this proof in front of the whole world? I remember the previous DGISPR giving a press conference and telling the world that India has training camps in Haryana, in Himachal, in Delhi NCR. I don't know where all India has terrorist training camps who are targeting Pakistan. What happened to that? Press conference? Where is the proof? Why don't you just put out the proof? Give it to China at least. China is your best friend. Give out that proof to China. Give it to Saudi Arabia. Give it to every single country in the world. Say this is what India has done and expose India. Will you do that? No, because you're lying. You know that you're lying. Dear Pakistan, you know you're lying. I know you're lying. The world knows you're lying. So what you do is send that baby boy Bilawal Bhutto to the United Nations Security Council and in a fake English accent, ask him to give a speech and say, Kashmir banega Pakistan. You know, we want Kashmir and India has illegally occupied Kashmir. This is all that you can do. What I would suggest to you, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto, is forget Kashmir for a while. Start paying salaries to your diplomats. Think about children's school fees. Think about the medicines to the elderly. I'm talking about the diplomats' kids. Think about the school fees. You're not paying them salaries. And yet, you want a diplomatic victory against India. How is that even possible? That's all I have for you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend and thank you for watching Checkmate.